we interrupt your usual programming for a podcast in the art of bullshittery.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it is with you. Welcome to the Blaggin podcast, a lifestyle podcast. Wherever podcasts would tell you how to get ahead in life, we're just going to tell you how to survive it. My name's Tom.
Sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
my name is Tom Baker. I'm an actor, author, and part-time milker of cows. Nice. I'm here with my co-host and good friend Christopher Chaynes, aka Chaynes. Chris,
what's going on?
Chris, tell me who you are as an artist.
Who I am as an artist? Oh god.
What do you do?
So, I would consider it very low-key underground rap / hip hop. On the come up, I suppose.
It's we like the niche. You're a rare vintage.
A rare vintage.
What is Blaggin it? Why are we doing Blaggin it?
Why not?
Why not?
What else is there to do, bro?
What else is there to do? So Blaggin it is a self-help podcast. Sort of, we want to share the advice as creators and artists that we wish we'd heard starting out, or at the beginning of our kind of creative journeys as artists.
Yeah, it might be a bit too soon to call it careers.
Career. Did you notice how tentative and delicately I was placing it? I was like, don't say profession or career.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So, and we're also going to be talking about our workflow. So, how we find inspiration, what we do when the inspiration well dries up, because I think that's another thing that's important as well. And we might have guests on as well, like from different sort of walks of the artistic world, to find to find out bits about them and to try and give something back to other people who are in the same boat. Because I think that's the role of a good artist is someone who gives back and hands it down, hands the baton to the next person.
Yeah, you find so many. Just from a personal standpoint, the way that hip hop and rap has kind of gone at the moment, there's a lot of these younger kids that are being really disrespectful to like the OGs, as they'd call them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What do you mean?
So, whether they just go on their social medias and just talk about how bad they were or how they're old news now, kind of thing. Like,
respect your elders.
Yeah, it's like these guys, they are the reason you're here.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, you definitely wouldn't be here without, because it's not like they're disrespecting like the greats,
yeah,
like the J's, the Dre's, like the Nas or whatever. Like, I mean, I'm just naming people to you. I imagine.
Are they names or are they just? They sound just like syllables and consonants. So, the J's, the D's,
like J's as in Jay-Z.
Like, I'm such a white person. It was Mozart in my day.
I'm with you. We should be essentially passing it down and to keep it going. If we love it so much, respect the ones that paved the way for us, and then continue to do so for those yet to come.
And it's about reinventing as well. So like, a phrase I hear a lot is, "Don't try and reinvent the wheel." No one is going to come up with a better invention than the wheel. So rather than trying to think of what the next wheel is, take the wheel and put some different...
Put some BBSs on it.
Yeah, put some alloys on it and some spokes. I don't know.
I mean, the spokes.
Car references. Hetero. What does blagging it mean? What does that phrase mean? Because this podcast might be reached by global listeners. There might be people in America going, what the hell is blagging it? That's a bad American accent. But what does blagging it mean? Because it's actually colloquial sort of British slang, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it's a very it's quite a relaxed way of looking at things. It's just, to hell with it. Just get on with things. Whatever happens.
So to blag it is just to shrug. Like no matter how hard things might be, blagging it is like, well, I don't know. I'll make it up. I'll be okay. I'll get away with it, and I'll live to see another day. Which I feel like that kind of unapologetic and kind mindset can be applied to not only art and creativity, but also mindfulness as well. That sense of it is what it is.
Yeah.
In dealing with it.
Yeah, come whatever
Cool.
may. Like, yeah.
So, talk to me just while we're introducing ourselves. How did you get started as an artist? Like, when can you think of a particular time when you realised, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I was put on this earth to do.
Okay, so if we start from like the very beginning, it was essentially just blagging it. It really was. I was with.
It's the name of the podcast.
It is indeed.
We need it on a mug. Can you get it on wine glasses? Did they do wine glass merch?
I've got to imagine somebody somewhere will, you know, if there's something you can think of.
I'll just get a Sharpie.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
cheaper.
Hez will draw it. Yeah, no, I was about 11 years old at the time, and I was with my very close friend of mine, Dave, and we were just listening to Eminem records at the time, and we just decided, do you know what, we could do this.
I could do that.
Yeah,
that's where it starts from, though, isn't it?
I can totally do that, and I mean, at the time, we definitely could not do that.
Yeah.
Every so often, I'll have like a clear out of my room, and I'll come across like the folder that still has like some of the first things that we wrote, and mate, cry with laughter every time. It is awful.
I think it's important to keep a record of that, though, because you never know when those ideas are going to be useful again. So I think, in terms of advice to any kind of up and coming creative people, or people who want to, whether it's be an artist, be an illustrator, a painter, a writer, actor, singer, document everything. Like,
except the sucking. Because
I don't know, man.
Listeners, viewers, whatever. Like, accept the fact that you will suck.
Yeah.
Like, when you start, you will be bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's all well. I don't want to say bad, because you might have a natural talent for it, but there is still so much room for growth, and that's only going to come out of doing it.
Yeah.
And going through and experiencing it, and that's it. Like, you have to go through that.
I was writing a blog post today because I'm going to get into blogging, which seems a bit 2008. But I came upon the discovery that the phrase "something from nothing" is a bit useless, because something from nothing is kind of like multiplying by zero. You get nothing. Nothing is nothing. So actually, the phrase should be something from something. Like, do something when you feel that pull, that urge to create. Do something. Don't just sit on the idea, because actually bringing that into fruition, into being, will have a knock-on effect and bring you into the next thing, etc., etc. So it isn't something from nothing, because there's always something there. It's something from something, and that's just a little. I was like, oh, that's quite poignant, and that kind of helps with artist's block as well. So like, as a lyricist and a musician, what does artist's block look like for you?
Very uninspired, almost like completely blank thoughts.
Yeah.
So when I try and write something new, usually I try not to force anything out at all. I think anything that was forced is bad.
Okay.
That's usually how I try and think of it. So for me, the difference between a record that has potential and something that absolutely has to be done is just by listening to like the instrumental of it, there's already words, phrases, particular ideas that come out of it. It's never usually at the beginning of the track. Unfortunately, I really suck at starting records.
Yeah.
But that's when it's like, okay, so this one has to be done, because I don't even need to think for these ideas to come from this.
Yeah, and so I call that. So that's what flow is, really, isn't it? When the ideas just kind of, as a writer, the words just come onto the page. It just happens.
Yeah,
and that sense of flow is a great feeling, because it's effortless.
Yes,
it's easy, and it feels true and honest. But then, artist block is kind of is a horrible, uncomfortable feeling, because the minute when the well dries up, you go, oh, I'm not very good at this. Maybe I haven't got, and that's when the doubt kind of comes in. So, what do you do to get over artist block? What's your technique that might be helpful to other people?
So I tend to either go searching for completely new records that I've unheard of to maybe draw some whole new inspiration. I clearly take inspiration from various different artists on some records. In fact, when I first started out, actually, one of the things I used to do was I'd actually listen to a record and think, who would get on this? And then I thought, okay, so if they did it, what would they say? Which was like probably not my best idea, because some might think that I was just trying to be them.
Yeah.
Which I suppose you could argue that maybe that was the case, but I was just drawing inspiration out of it, because a lot of these guys are clearly doing it as well, and I think that's perfectly, acceptable for us to do that. If I don't go listening to other artists, I will listen to completely different records, just things, I might even go searching for just completely new ones again that I haven't heard before from different producers that I don't usually go checking for, because there's a whole bunch of particular guys that I really resonate with their sounds. So I always, like, every single upload or whatever, I'm there checking the beat stores, like, let's see what did you put out this week, like. But yeah, sometimes you just want to hear something completely fresh, and you might get something on this completely different beat that you only get, like, I don't know, 16 bars worth, but that same 16, then you find in a couple of months it actually fits perfectly with that previous.
Yeah, so again, it's about documenting. It's about putting everything away. One of my acting lecturers when I was training would always talk about the bookshelf. So like when there isn't when an idea isn't right for this moment or this project, don't bin it, put it on the bookshelf and come back to it, because it's all inspired work. So
yes,
no matter how small it is, like, trees start off as saplings, they start very small, that's a bit of a used metaphor, but yeah. And I think I read something useful recently that talked about, because obviously I'm doing fantasy writing at the moment, so fictional writing, and they wrote about how writers should read stuff that's completely different to the genre they're writing in, because J.R.R. Tolkien, the guy who wrote Lord of the Rings, wasn't reading Lord of the Rings. So why would a fantasy writer read, another fantasy series and expect to find something new?
Okay.
So as you say, like, looking at something completely opposite to what you're doing, you're definitely going to find something there, something that changes the lens for you and lets you see it from a different perspective and mixes it up, because it's very easy to get into like a very repetitive treadmill kind of pattern with the work, that kind of process of just doing the same thing over and over and again. You've got to switch it up.
Yeah, exactly. I think sometimes having like creative block is almost like your subconscious saying to you that it's time to do something different.
Yeah, switch it up.
Like let's do something new. Let's do something refreshing. I'm trying to switch it up now. Like it's like let's go for a completely different sound here. Let me try something a bit different, because I feel like I've put out a couple of projects now and they're sort of fairly similar. Like all of the records and out of very sort of similar themes and that. And
I think you get that though. Like listening. So do you know the 1975?
I do. Yes.
They released their latest album recently, and I was kind of going through it, and I was like, a lot of these songs sound the same. And I think you get that sometimes. Do you know what I mean? But that's because it's your voice.
Yeah.
Like, of course, your voice. You're not going to wake up one day and speak like Daffy Duck or anything. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't change your voice, so like it might sound the same, but.
Yeah, but then I also think that I'm also saying the same sort of things just in different ways.
Yeah.
It's like, overall, this record has the exact same point. I've just said it differently.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how many times am I going to ride this wave? How many times am I going to beat that horse to death?
That's really interesting, and that actually comes onto something else that I wrote in my notes. And you kind of mentioned it where you don't want to risk copying other artists, but
yes. I am intrigued, by the way, of what creative block is from an actor's perspective.
From an actor's perspective, well, oh my gosh. Usually, so as you know, I'm an acting coach. I do like private acting coaching. Usually, what I see in the actors when there's a block, it's usually a mental block, and it usually comes from the idea of I'm not doing this right.
Right.
So today I have my student and he's preparing for an audition. And he did the piece and it was, it was rough, it was sketchy, but that's fine. We're in the middle of the process. So I said, right, I want you to do it as a 4-year-old having a tantrum.
Right.
And he frowns at me and he goes, why would I do that? That sounds like it would be a disaster. Do you know what I mean? That sounds like, and I was like, don't question it, just go with it. And he started doing it and I could just see from his face, because obviously this was over Zoom, and you'd think, how can you do acting coaching over Zoom? But it's actually work. It's just like being in the room.
Okay.
Being in the room with Zoom. Zoom, please hire me for marketing.
Sponsor, please.
Campaigns.
Hook us up. Send us one of them cams.
Let's have it. I don't think they need, sponsorship at this rate, because everyone's... Do you remember House Party, when that blew up at the start of... Were you... House Party was weird, so it was like FaceTime, but you'd have a room,
right,
and then people would just drop in. It would say like, "Oh, Tom's having a house party," and it would be like group FaceTime, and you play games and stuff. And then it came out, because it gained so much popularity, people started hacking it.
Right.
And there was this massive my Twitter's being hacked. If you're going to hack something, if you've got the intelligence and the IQ to hack, why are you hacking Twitter? 140 characters people wrote having a dump in the morning, trying to share their opinion. Why are you hacking the bank accounts or the government?
Because that's quite a serious offence then.
Let's hack the memes.
It's not that bad. You can still have a laugh, and no one's going to care. They'll get their account back.
Can you imagine in court, it'd be like, you're being sentenced for hacking memes 40 years. Anyway, see, this is how my brain works. You were asking me about, I was talking about acting students, and I go on to House Party. But I could see from his face, in his eyes, and the way his breath was as well, because obviously I do a lot of breath work. He was really like... that kind of, this isn't any good. And I could tell he was working like that. And I was like, stop. What's going on? And he goes, it feels like I'm not doing it right. And I literally said, mic drop, end of the lesson. Because that's... the idea of getting it right is an instant block for the actor, because acting isn't real. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people need to wake up about that sometimes. They're words on a page that no one ever really said. It's all made up. So how could you get it right? Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that there's just like a massive like misconception to the whole idea of it then? And like what you actually, as opposed to what it is and what people think it is?
Yes, massively. And that's what you have to work with. That's what you're working against mostly with students, is overcoming those preconceptions. Students think that when they get a piece of text, it needs to be this amazing thing straight away. It needs to be this BAFTA award winning, like
people see DiCaprio in Wolf of
and
Wall
it's
Street,
intimidating.
and just thinks, I need to do whatever that guy just did, if not better.
Yeah. And they're stealing from artists in terms of their technique, and then they're trying to copy them.
Right.
And when you're trying to copy them, that's when it's like, no. You need to find your voice as an artist, and then use that as the vessel for whatever the piece is. So that's how blocking is for the actor. Is they get in their own way. They think this needs to be good. There's good, admittedly, there's good acting and there's bad acting.
Yeah.
But good acting is just acting that follows a technique and a method. It isn't acting that necessarily makes someone cry or makes someone laugh. It's just one that is informed and one that is structured and one that has been worked on.
Yeah.
And this comes to something I talk a lot about, which is process-oriented thinking versus goal-oriented thinking. And this is the bit where people get their pens and papers out and start taking notes, because this is you turning up for class. Okay. So process-oriented thinking is all about the moment-to-moment stuff. So looking at the stuff on the cutting room floor, the stuff you threw away, the scraps or the stuff that didn't work, and taking a hard look at that and going, why didn't this work? How can I take that to the next thing? And then all these little bits add up to the thing, whether it is a music track, a piece of art, acting, a book, etc. Whereas goal-oriented thinking is, I'm just thinking about the goal. I'm just thinking about the finished product. How can you create something in the now if you're so focused on something that doesn't exist yet? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I'm on follow. Yeah.
So the problem might be that, like Henry, obviously my brother is an artist. He doesn't start painting and sees it straight away. Like with each stroke of the brush, etc. That's how it builds. That's the process. And so
I have a lot of questions for Hez about his process.
well,
by the way,
I said to him earlier, can you do a segment? Hopefully we'll be able to get that, because I do think I just want to know how people are blagging it, as it were. Do you know what I mean? What their process is, how they find inspiration. That's kind of what the goal of the podcast is just find out how we can help each other, how we can learn from each other, stuff like that. So process oriented thinking is a kind of way of creating as well, because you're not holding yourself up to an imagined standard. You're not stressing about the finished book, the finished track, etc. You're working moment to moment to build something better, and I think that's the way it's done. Goal oriented by all means. Like, you know, if you were in the stock market or something like that, we have a goal of I want X amount of shares or something like that. Absolutely, that's a goal, but then you need to work on the process.
Absolutely.
And I think
it's great if you want to win a Grammy. Like, it's fantastic.
But
there's a whole bunch of you have no idea how long it takes to put together a single project.
Like, totally. Like, if I think about the amount of time that went into doing getting a book out, like not only proofreading it but writing it, like that was 4 years of me talking to myself in the shower. Do you know what I mean? There's an image for you. But people see what other people have done. And this is kind of why I wanted to make the podcast as well. I've been very inspired by Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. There's that for the YouTube video, the YouTube viewers. I've completely forgot what I was going to say. He talks about comparing your success to other people. And the problem is that it's so easy these days to see how many Instagram followers someone has, how many Twitter followers someone has, and going, oh, I'll never have that many followers. And because of that mindset, because you're doing the comparison, you don't do anything. Nothing happens. And so the reason why I wanted to make the podcast, despite it maybe being an overcrowded market, I was like, they might be saying the same things, but no one's speaking with my voice. No one's had the experiences I've had, etc. Do you know what I mean? I was pitching the podcast to someone and they said, oh yeah, well, loads of people have already done that. And I was like, oh great. Well, there's loads of actors, there's loads of artists, there's loads of singers. Does that mean no one else should try?
They're all getting their share still.
Yeah.
Like, they still, live off of it. Like, regardless.
And I think that is the key thing for any person who's aspiring to be an artist, is don't compare yourself to other people. Find your lane, find your voice, what makes you interesting. And then run with that and start creating, again, it comes back to something from nothing. No, something from something, like little bits every day. In the book as well, it talks about if you do a little thing every day, that adds up to, a year's amount of work adds up if you just crack it a little bit every day. Yes, absolutely. Hello and welcome back to Blaggin' It. That was a break, and we're back. An intentional break.
Technical difficulties.
If you go onto our YouTube, you can see behind the scenes and see what really happened. Chris, Blaggin' It is a podcast for aspiring creatives, how to find inspiration, how to be the best version of yourself, and how to be inspiring and perspiring. Because we all perspire. We all need Right Guard. We all need Lynx. Other deodorant brands are available.
With Dollar Shave Club. No, sorry.
Have you seen the YouTube ads that's talking about? It's like a male ball shaver.
Oh, is it called Manscaped?
Yes, Manscaped. I remember. But what's that about?
I mean, it's
well, it's about shaving
it's
your
about
balls.
manscaping.
Why is that? So,
gotta keep it tidy, bro.
Okay.
You don't know, I don't like how you said that.
I don't know. I just wanted to watch my productivity video or a video about cats, and I'm being told about what was that noise?
I think his cam just made a noise.
Is it turned off?
Let's find out.
Brilliant.
The theme.
It's fantastic. But that's the thing. If you make not being professional, your brand, you can do whatever the hell you like.
Yeah.
Austin Kleon, I'm reading this book, by the way. I don't know if I've talked about it. He talks about the best thing about being an amateur is that there's no risk. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really empowering advice. But anyway, moving away from shaving our balls,
Yes.
I want to talk to you about other people's opinion.
Cool.
And judgment.
Cool. Okay.
What do you do with that when someone, let's say you get a comment on YouTube or a comment on your Instagram photo being like, your fuggles, log out.
Your fuggles.
Yeah, I don't know. First thing
Is that a thing?
I clearly get lots of hate mail.
Your fuggles.
Said the 7-year-old boy from California.
I mean, if someone said that to me, like, I'm not going to get mad at someone using the word fuggles to me.
Fuggles sounds like a character from the Tweenies. Do you remember the Tweenies?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Mate, what was the name of the red dog?
Oh, Lord.
It wasn't Dougal, because that was from Magic Roundabout.
Dougal was the Magic Round. I love Dougal.
Yeah. Was it Doodle?
Oh, maybe it was, you know. Doodles, Chris. Multiple doodles.
What was the other dog? It was purple, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Izzles.
Izzles?
Doesn't quite fit with the theme, but...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the episode of Blaggin It, where we talk about the hot topics like, do you remember the Tweenies?
This is a self-help podcast to make you a better artist. Do you remember the Tweenies? They were great.
This has to stay in.
I just love how multicultural they were. Look at these guys. Look at all the varying skin tones. I don't remember her being that green. She looks ill.
Oh, no, that is crazy.
She doesn't look great, does she?
That is crazy. Wow, okay.
Fantastic. Grandpa's got sunburn, and she's blue. Oh my God, the Tweenies, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, Milo. That was
the
my
only one I
guy.
It's so interesting that kids' programs these days are all just CGI now. Like Thomas the Tank Engine used to have the little models.
Yeah.
Now it's just animation, man. It's
Yeah,
sad.
it is.
It's sad.
I'm sure that I had a friend whose dad used to help with the old Thomas the Tank Engine modelling stuff.
Get him on the podcast. I want to talk about.
I know, yeah. I want to talk about stuff like that.
We want his opinion. We want to know how. We want to know about his workflow and how he stops.
Where do you get inspired from?
What's artist block for a guy who does the Thomas the Tank Engine models? I run out of colours for the trains.
He definitely sounds like that.
So I just mix it. And his name's like Ernie or something.
Yeah, it's got to be like Ernie or Ernest.
Ernest, yes. Anyway, Jesus Christ.
We tackle the real things here.
Yeah, we're talking about the real issues. We should just call it the Real Issues Podcast. Why was the Tweenies' mum green?
Episode 2, why are Freddos so expensive?
And they're smaller now as well. Mm-hmm. I worked in a supermarket I won't name because of lockdown. I went from acting in Netflix. No, I'm not supposed to say actor, sign an NDA. It's all right. No one's going to watch this. It's pointless. I went.
Come on, man. Give us a bit more credit.
Saying, I went from that to scanning shopping. What's a grocery, by the way? Do you know what a grocery is? Tell me what a grocery is. You can't, can you? Because it's an American word.
Yeah.
And so when I turn up in the morning and then my manager would say, "Oh, Tom, can you do the groceries?" I'd be like, what the hell is a grocery? I nearly swore then. Before we started filming, I said, Chris, no, I was really serious. Chris, I don't want any swearing. I want the 7-year-olds to not be hearing foul language. And then
Are we really going to have 7-year-olds?
Hey man, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg started out on Facebook when he was 5. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
What
I don't think that's how the film had it.
But yeah, so I went from that to scanning. We see old Marky in preschool. That'd be fun, Marky, as he likes to be known. to scanning shopping and
or the Zuck.
The Zucker. Anyway, and they're smaller as well now.
Yeah.
All my hands are bigger. One of the two.
I mean, I think it's a bit of both. They're definitely smaller though. All chocolate has gotten smaller though.
I can't believe it. Yes, no, because even Cadbury Dairy Milk has gone from blocks to the weird little hump thing.
Yeah.
I don't get that. And the Toblerones that became, do you remember the outpour?
Yes.
The outcry of Toblerone?
Yeah.
White privilege, man. Third world problems. So yes,
I think the phrase is first.
It is. I said it. We'll edit it out. Edit it out. Let me just tap.
We'll just.
Can you not right by the mic? Because
it's just so you know that's an edit point.
Oh my god. Anyway,
my bad.
That's okay. So other people's opinions. So hate. What do you do with that? And how do you keep tapping this table, and all they're going to hear is they're going to wonder if there's a tremor happening, if there's an earthquake, and we need to hide under the stairs.
I'll move my hands.
Like Harry Potter, he lived under the stairs, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Okay, great,
yeah,
cool.
He did.
I've got my references, my pop culture references, all sorted out. Other people's
dealing
opinions.
with hate.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, I don't know what we'll do about the Tweenies chat. We'll keep some of it. Dealing with hate. Go. While I drink.
Well, I mean, touch wood, which I'm not going to do. That's a mad sentence. I just realised. Yeah. Okay, right.
Touch wood. No, you won't touch wood, Chris. We've had this discussion.
So I haven't actually really had to deal with anything just yet.
Yeah.
Most feedback has been like, pretty positive, or just, haven't really had any feedback for anything. The only time that I did get somewhat hate was there used to be a guy on YouTube that went by the name of Free Pack.
Oh, wow, okay. Everyone's going to be hunting him down now. I mean,
he
doesn't have kids.
Like, he was on there, and he used to make very controversial songs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were...
Hang on, 3-pack?
Yeah.
Jesus, I just smacked the table. I wonder how he thought of that one.
Yeah.
Hey, so there's 2-pack. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm one better than him. I'm 3-pack.
Yeah.
Just think about a 3-pack on your chest as an out. Would it happen?
Is that going to be all down one side,
or would it be a triangle? I didn't think about the all down one side. Yeah. You only do crunches on one side of your body.
Well, it's left day today.
Right, so 3-pack.
Yeah, and he used to do. I'm pretty sure it was intentionally awful music, because it was just really bad. Like he'd done a song,
but not like a so bad it's good bad, like the Krispy Kreme guy.
I think it was just meant to be awful.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like he'd done a song called "Swag Like Osama," and he was dressed as Osama bin Laden. And was like dancing around.
We are really dragging 3-pack through the mud, aren't we?
It's like, swag like Osama.
Yeah, we don't need a... There goes our sponsorship. There's the explicit marking. Great. And cut. Back to the Tweenies.
But they... So I decided one day that, because like when I was younger, for some reason I thought, is this guy actually serious? So I decided to make a diss track on him.
That's brilliant.
And
for those who don't know, what is a diss track? I'm being deliberately ignorant for the benefit of our millions of viewers who are tuning in with their scone and their tea, and they're like, what's a diss track, Chris?
They're all from Britain, apparently.
Apparently so.
Yeah, so a diss track is essentially, how I would say it's like a cuss, but some people don't know what a cuss is really.
A diss track is it's like slander. It's like a negative. I don't understand, because people like KSI to do it, and I don't understand the culture. But is it just like playful banter? Is it just like kind of? Is it a challenge? Is it like, I've done you, now you need to one-up me?
It's so, hip-hop has always been a very competitive genre. It sort of was, I believe it was birthed in the streets of Brooklyn, New York, where it sort of...
I hope it wasn't a cesarean.
All right, mate.
Not even dad jokes. They're not funny enough to be dad jokes.
It started as just guys being like, I'm better than you, and this is why. I'm now just going to insult you in rhythm.
Okay. In rhythm. Well,
yeah. And it was
just got respect.
And it was just back and forth. Like I'm going to say this, and then it sort of evolved into like
a dance battle. Like
in a sense,
like,
yeah.
Oh, and that's me dancing.
With the flow and rhythm of words.
Wow.
Poetry.
I
know.
Shakespeare. Who?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you did
So I did a diss track, not a very good one, but you know,
Still out there.
no,
Okay.
no, it's not.
Shame.
I deleted.
We left
it.
that on the cutting room floor.
So I deleted it.
I love how the second part of this podcast is utter crap. It didn't take long, did it? We managed probably about 15 minutes of professionalism.
It was I remember deleting the video because I got butthurt because someone commented something like, "Oh, this guy is from the mean streets of Hogwarts," and I was just like, "Wow."
That's all kinds of levels of genius.
Yeah.
I don't think that is hate. I think that's an honour. If someone used a read like that on me, I'd be
Yeah.
like, I bow down to you.
Yeah.
The streets of Hogwarts. That's genius. That's so good.
But like, I was trying to like
Get him on the show.
like I legit thought that this video was gonna I was gonna blow up from it, and I'm gonna suddenly become the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Stop. Enough.
I was like 14, 15.
Oh my god.
So, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna diss this guy, and everyone's gonna see how much better I am. And like, yeah,
I can't believe it.
how
Well,
wrong was I? Yeah,
I don't know, Chris, because you're on a very popular podcast now.
not because of that video. Though.
That's amazing.
I can't remember what I called the song. It was, but yeah,
It will come to you.
but it was essentially
Like a train in the night.
like in brackets, free pack diss.
That's great. So that's the hate you deal with.
But rest in peace, free pack.
Oh, gee. Well, that puts a sour note on the story.
Yeah, it does.
Is he actually deceased?
Apparently, yeah. He had like a health issue, and he was very young. He was like in his late 20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like we've just spoken ill of the dead. But did 3 Pack say the Hogwarts thing?
No, it
Oh.
was one of his fans. I think.
Oh, he had fans.
Yeah. Apparently, I didn't think judging from the dislike
what-
part, I didn't think they were real.
Oh my.
But yeah, no, he clearly had fans.
Oh my god, I'm so blown away by this story, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to hear it.
Yeah.
So hey, so for people who aren't making diss tracks,
Yes.
what would you say to like naysayers or non-believers, or like how do you deal with that negativity? What's your method for overcoming that?
Take it as fuel.
Yeah.
You know, so many people use it to sort of, you know, weigh them down, which is okay for like, you know, maybe a few hours or something, or you know, maybe ponder on it for a little while. But as long as you eventually realise that actually no, like they don't know anything. Like, I'm cool. I've got this.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be absolutely fine. Like, I've had people. I still have like a couple years ago now. I went to shoot a video called 4 PM in Oxford. You know, go check that out. Chaynes Unlimited. Like, literally just type in Chaynes on. You know, I'm just saying.
That's what you need. You need a brandable name that it comes up straight away.
Yeah, and it does. Thankfully.
Boom.
But yeah, so I shot that video in Westgate Shopping Centre. And
People are going to find where we live, Chris. I'm not sure about this.
I mean, it's you know,
Give them the coordinates. Why not?
I got the train there.
Coordinates. Do you think people still use coordinates?
I'm
to,
pretty
like-
sure the CIA do.
Do they-
Yes.
But do they open Google Maps and go X30 north of? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think the CIA is using Google Maps.
Such an idiot.
Is that really like the peak of our technology in the
Jimmy.
military?
Hey Jimmy, we need to find this guy. Oh, don't worry, Manny. I got Google Maps.
That was actually like almost Peter Griffin.
Was it?
Yeah.
Watch out, whoever voices Peter.
Seth MacFarlane.
Oh yeah, quite a famous name.
Yeah. You know, does most of the characters.
That's what I love about my, like, I'd like to sit here and go, I don't say much about acting, I don't say much about writing, I don't know who anyone is. But I try to stay out of,
Has someone got like a trombone?
apparently. We've got bagpipes there if you want to whip them out.
Do you actually?
You know this, my mum's got bagpipes. And what was I talking about? I try not to pay too much attention to what other people are doing because I don't want them to influence what I'm doing too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I'd hate for subconsciously stuff they've done to trickle through to my stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look how serious I got because I didn't know who Seth MacFarlane was. But yes, I've ruined my Google Maps joke now. I can't go back to that because it's not going to be very funny.
But so with like, so yeah, with dealing with like hateful comments and things, like when I was filming that video,
Yes.
I still had so like we done it on the, you know, where they've got like a little bridge that goes over the escalators that goes to like the toilet block. Mm-hmm. So we filmed it on that bridge.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Near the Crazy Golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we had people walking behind my camera guy and all that, and like the looks that I got while doing that. Some people straight up laughed at me.
Really?
Yeah, and that's cool. Like, you know, it's all good because, you know, I got a sick video out of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, these people, you know, they can't.
They're in a different lane to you.
They can't do what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely.
It's like it may seem stupid to you or whatever, but you know, it's at least it's like
People
good.
are so quick to judge other people and put other people down that they will not for 1 second try to relate and understand where they're coming from or appreciate what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to just be like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
easy.
look at that.
I think you're right.
Yeah, what's that guy doing?
And it also,
plus, it's not something you see every day.
No.
And we love seeing like weird stuff
Yeah.
and things you don't see all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, I guess it'll make a great story for them. They probably went home and
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I saw some idiot rapping in Westgate."
and then they went back to playing Minecraft and, you know, doing watching Strictly Come Dancing or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happened the other day? I was teaching my student and I said, "What's wrong?" And he was like, "Oh, I was talking about learning lines." He said, "I don't like learning lines out loud because people might think I'm weird."
Okay.
And I said, "Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Being weird is awesome."
Absolutely.
Because have you seen normal people?
Yeah.
They're so boring. And I'd hate to be normal.
They don't seem very happy either.
They don't seem very happy. I think that's so true.
If you want to see normal people, literally just go to Paddington Station at 9 a.m.
Grey-faced,
Like,
blank.
suits, leather briefcases,
And they always have to be
miserable
somewhere.
look.
The thing about London, they always have to be somewhere. Everyone's rushing around,
Yeah, absolutely.
looking at their phones. They've got, oh my God, everything needs to happen now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that they have like they just that everything's a rush. It seems like they act as if there isn't another train in literally 2 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
I had a guy genuinely try to start a fight with me.
Yeah. Why? What did you do?
In the underground because I was stood on the left side
Yeah.
of the escalator.
Yeah.
Only because I was on my way to a gig with my brother, and whenever we like use public transport and all that, he just sort of stays out of my way, and it's like, right, you figure out where we've got to go, and I will just follow you.
Yeah. London is like it's like going to Mordor.
It's a whole other
You
world.
need to install apps.
Yeah.
You need
an
plan it
Oyster
out.
card
You
and,
need
like-
so many things in your
Yeah.
and you always take a bag to London, don't you? You can't
Yeah.
go to London with nothing on your shoulders because London is a trek. Like you
Yeah.
can go to Oxford for the day out, easy, and that's a city. But if you're going to London, you best be prepared.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you've
You
got
need
to
your
take,
Lambert spread.
you know, yeah,
Friends reference.
yeah. You've got to take some sort of food
So,
just in
yes,
case
you were on
because
the
you don't know where you're going. You
don't know what's
as
gonna
if there's
happen.
going to be no shops anywhere in London.
Exactly. If there isn't going to be a pret-a-manger on every sponsorship deal, if there isn't going to be a pret-a-manger on every corner,
What was that?
don't know. Don't ask me.
But yeah, no, he was in such a rush, and like, so I was only on the left side because I was stood on the same step as my brother, and I was just showing him, right, so we're going to go down here,
Yeah.
and then do this, and there was this whole, excuse me, supposed to be standing on the right, and I was just like,
But that's the thing. People are so. There's this. I did a play, and one of the lines was in it. The recurred was "stand behind the yellow line."
Right.
And the thing is that people have got society, the concept of society, so drummed into them that if someone like an artist or a confident, outgoing, extroverted person exists outside those parameters, they're the enemy. It's them and us. So the minute you're stood on the left instead of the right, that fictional, imagined, stupid rule, you are an idiot. How dare you stand on the left?
Yeah.
And then you get home and you wrap your head around it and you're like, they're the idiot for being so hypnotized.
yeah.
I feel like we're going to get loads of comments now by people being like, yes, but it's because it's the rules.
It is, but the thing is, like, admittedly, once I had figured out that I had messed up here,
Yeah.
fortunately there was a step right in front of my brother that I was just like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just jump down there. And I was like, oh, yeah, my bad, man. Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
There's a way to go about it, isn't
Sorry,
it?
like, I don't do this all the time, so which, to be fair, he could have thought of that. I mean, I'm clearly not, I wasn't dressed for, for the occasion.
Dressed for London.
Yeah, exactly. So it's clear I'm an outsider.
Yeah, outside.
But it was, which was perfectly fine, until he got to my step, looked at me, and then decided to cuss at me. And then I was just like, all right, it's game time now, bro. It was just like...
Boss, what's the phrase? Boss music starts playing.
Like, yeah.
Fight.
It's like, all right, mate, like, I'm going to, like, full-on scorpion kick your ass now.
Yeah.
But, like, he sort of carried on running down the stairs, but then proceeded to stop at the bottom, turn around, and then shout up back at me because he could hear me. People
always do their insults when they're walking away.
Yeah, when they're
me.
leaving.
And that's the thing, is that, and it annoys me so much, because I'm like, if you've got something to say it to my face. Don't resort to, do you know what I mean? But like, the amount of times I've been like when I've been working in retail or something, and then someone's been, as they're walking towards the door, turned around and said, X, Y, Z. I'm like, oh, come on, you're the coward in this situation.
Yeah, because now you don't get to find out what I was going to say, or even what I was going to do.
Last word.
Like, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
That's why you've dipped. Like, because you don't want to know. Like, it's like...
Don't mess with Chris.
No, I'm just like, generally, like, they just don't want to know that. Like, any time that I've said something to somebody and then left, it's because I'm not prepared for like what's potentially going to come here. Yeah. Like, so I don't want to know what kind of smoke I just got myself into. So say it and leave.
Yeah. Back out.
Yeah.
Chris Chaynes has left the chat.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we've muddled our way through episode 1 of Blaggin' It. What have we told the people today? What's the take home?
What is
always stand on the right.
Yes, that's a very good. When you're using London escalators, stand on the right hand side. You will upset many people if you don't.
I think there's a whole episode for the journey into London.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, bookmark it. Okay, we're done. Yeah, so that's Blagging It for you. It's we occasionally say useful things, but mostly it is just wrapped up in anecdotes about the Tweenies.
I mean,
so if you like the sound of that, then stick around. With weekly podcast, weekly.
Yeah, cool.
Weekly, why not?
Cool. Yeah.
Well, you are not. If you'd be awkward if you said no. Not gonna lie. Chris, how can people follow you? Where can people find you on the socials?
So you can find me on the Insta at Real Chaynes. Chaynes is Chaynes.
Great. Okay.
You can find me on YouTube under Chaynes Unlimited. The Unlimited is UNLTD.
It's unlimited.
It's abbreviated.
Oh yes, I love breving stuff up. I love to have an abrev sesh.
Well,
Or when I saw this there's a thing on a program where someone says, "Hate it when people say spag bol, fuck annoy." And there goes the swearing filter. You can find me on Instagram _Thomas J Baker, I think. My Twitter is TJB Actor. My website, she's got a website now.
Okay.
Squarespace.
Oh.
Promo. What's it called? Sponsorship. There we go. Get the words right, Jesus. Is thomasbakeractor.com. There we go. If you have to think of the domain. But yeah, stick around, keep creating, keep having fun, keep being kind to each other.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't
just
don't be a dick.
Just don't shout at people who stand on the left. Just politely nudge them and remind them.
Just have a bit of consideration.
Beautiful.
Also, you can find me on Twitch at Chaynesy.
Okay, brilliant. Well,
that is Chaynes EY.
Jesus, we need a dictionary for all the different ways you spell all the socials.
Which, to be fair, I was actually thinking, like, when we actually do this, like, I was thinking of maybe setting it up so that we also live stream the episode. When we get a lot more sort of comfortable, we can also live stream the episode as well as film it, so then people could either watch it live or...
Yes, no, I see what you mean, and then we upload it. Well, there you go, guys. There's that's.
Let us know in the comments.
That's what's on the horizon. I can imagine just a barrage of comments, people demanding the live stream. Yes, guys, I want
Yes, I need more content.
I really care what Tom and Chris are saying.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the podcast, isn't it? That they care about what we're saying.
Anyway, this has been Blaggin' It. Thank you very much. Tom Baker has left the chat. Bloop.
I mean, I'm out. You guys take it easy. Chris is leaving the chat.
You've been listening to Blaggin' It. And now, your usual program.